Design Thinking, lecture number 2. The theme of the lecture is the process of design thinking. According to the plan of the lecture, we are going to discuss the following questions. The first, process steps, and the second, planning a design thinking project. Design process is a specific set of steps used to develop, evaluate, and refine solutions to problems or challenges. Before diving into the innovation process, it is important to lay the groundwork for meaningful and focused exploration. First of all, you should assemble the team. The most powerful way to approach design is with a collaborative team. A great team will bring diverse perspective and skills to your program and have the right mindset to learn from and build from each other's contributions. As you are thinking about building a team, start with people who have the design mindset. What is design mindset? What does it take to be an innovator? While some specific design skills program expertise are helpful, the most important thing is adopting a design mindset. Characteristics of this mindset include optimism, curiosity, empathy, creativity, collaboration, a big picture view, a just do it attitude, and a hands-on approach. The most important thing is the team. As you are thinking about building a team, start with people who have design mindset. In addition, think about these elements. Interdisciplinary mix, it means assemble people with a mix of skill sets such as visual expressions, strategic thinking, ability to build things, communication. Communicative empathy. Make sure your team includes people with direct experience and empathy for the community of visitors at your program. Core and extended team. The core team should be between 2-8 people who are ready to get their hands dirty, taking part in all major team activities. You may also want to assemble an extended team to contribute specific skills or participate as needed in brainstorms and large team meetings. Key stakeholders. While this process it is not hierarchical, it's useful to include key decision makers in the lot of the extended team. According to Hesse-Plattner, the design thinking process consists of 6 process steps with iteration loops. The first, understanding. Second, observing. The third, defining problems. The fourth, finding ideas. The fifth, developing prototypes. And the sixth, testing. The initial 3 phases, the so-called problem space, describe the problem and its causes. What is the problem and why it is the problem there? And subsequent 3 phases, the so-called solution space, describe which solutions there can be and how these can be implemented. The first phase is called understanding. It means understanding the problem. In the first phase, it is first about developing an understanding for the challenge, the problem, the need, or the request. It must be clarified who has to be integrated into the process, and in particular, which technical perspective is necessary. Finally, it must be clarified how the question can best be formulated so that the customer need problem is defined in concrete terms. The second phase is called observing. In this phase, detailed research is on-site observation are carried out on the customer's problem. Numerous methods can be used for this, such as interviews, written surveys, observations with recordings through photos or even videos. The results are the clarification of the general conditions, the exact definition of the target group, and the comprehensive understanding of the customer and his needs and behavior. The third phase is called point of view. It means defining the problem. After the observation, the finding should next be condensed to a single prototypical user whose problem is to be summarized in a clearly defined question. The fourth stage is ideate. It means finding and selecting ideas. It is only in this phase that the actual brainstorming process takes place. Here, the creativity techniques can be used. Strictly separated from this, the ideas can be then analyzed in a customer-oriented manner in order to identify weak points, and a selection decision can be made on the basis of the idea evaluation. The next phase is called prototyping. It means develop the prototype. It is very important phase. Ideas should be visualized as quickly as possible, made tangible, designed, modeled. Following the technical fields, one can speak here of rapid prototyping, whereby the prototype developed applies decidedly not only to products but also to services. A variety of methods for prototype development are available for this purpose. The next phase is called testing. In this phase, the ideas are to be further developed and tested through further experiments and customer feedback. In addition, important development, product, production, and market issues have to be clarified. Some scientists suggest that the design thinking process can be divided into 5 key steps: emphasizing, define, ideate, prototype, and test. So look at the diagram. Here are 5 stages of design thinking: emphasize, define, ideate, prototype, and test. Let's start with the first stage, emphasizing. The design thinking process starts with emphasis. In order to create desirable product and services, you need to understand who your users are and what they need. What are their expectations in relation to the product you are designing? What challenges and pain points do they face within the context? During the emphasize phase, you'll spend time observing and engaging the real users, conducting interviews, seeing how they interact with the existing product, and generally paying attention to facial expressions and body language. As the first step in the design thinking process, the emphasize phase encourages you to set your assumptions aside. Armed with first-hand insights, you will be able to design with real users in mind. That's what design thinking is all about. The next stage is defining. In the second stage of the design thinking process, you will define the user problem that you want to solve. First, you'll gather all of your findings from the emphasized phase and start piecing them together. What common themes and patterns did you observe? What user needs and challenges constantly came up? Once you've synthesized your findings, you'll formulate what has known as a problem statement. A problem statement, sometimes called a point of view statement, outlines the issue or challenge that you will seek to address. By the end of the define phase, you will have a clear problem statement which will guide you throughout the design process. This will form the basis of your idea and potential solutions. The next stage is ideation. The first stage in the design thinking process consists of ideation or generating ideas. By this point, you know who your target user are and what they want from your product. You also have a clear problem statement that you are hoping to solve. Now it's time to come up with possible solutions. The ideation phase is a judgment-free zone where the group is encouraged to venture away from the norm, to explore new angles and to think outside the box. You'll hold an ideation session in order to generate as many ideas as possible, regardless of where or not they are feasible. The maximum creativity ideation sessions are often held in unusual locations. The next step is prototyping. In the fourth stage of the design thinking process, you'll turn your ideas from the stage 3 into prototypes. A prototype is essentially a scaled down version of a product or feature, be it is simple paper model or more interactive digital representation. The aim of the prototyping stage is to turn your ideas into something tangible which can be tested on real users. This is crucial in maintaining a user-centric approach, allowing you to gather feedback before you go ahead and develop the whole product. This ensures that the final design actually solves the user's problems and it is delight to use. The next stage is testing. The fifth stage in the design thinking process is dedicated to testing, putting your prototypes in front of real users and seeing how they get on. During the testing phase, you'll observe your target users, or representative users as they interact with your prototype. You'll also gather feedback on how your users felt throughout the process. The testing phase will quickly highlight any design flaws and need you to be addressed. Based on what you learned through users testing, you'll go back and make improvements. Remember, the design thinking process is iterative and non-linear. The results of the testing phase will often require you to revisit the emphasize stage and run through a few more ideation sessions before you create that winning prototype. The design thinking is a flexible process that is solution focused to help solve problems that everyday people have issues with. The design thinking process is iterative process offering flexibility and focuses on collaboration between designers and users, with an emphasis on putting life into ideas based on how real users think, react, and behave. Thank you very much for your attention.